Okay, so at 1:35 p.m., I'm just gonna do a brief one. It's the same day, same calendar date, January 11th, 2025. The fact that they're coming to the front door and ringing doorbells and lighting me up with gas, that was somebody trying to bring the Department of Mental Health back. And right now, as I film this, in response to the failed attempt to arrest me for mental health psychiatric charges, they're bringing the fire department back. So we'll see if they show up. The fire department wants to say that I'm a terrorist. So it's always going to be one of the two things. I'm a terrorist, poisoning myself, sure I am. Or I'm so schizo that they've got to arrest me because I'm just too darn crazy for the city to handle anymore, all right? It's going to be one of the two things. It's never going to stop until this terrorist compound is finally put to a stop. And that I do not believe will happen. I do not believe that will happen. Not after what I saw in the courthouse, not after I saw how many people are involved with this terrorist cell and what kind of stature they hold. It explains why so many people I see that, like what I just described with the folks coming out of this complex across the street, and that woman I saw leaving 1507, they have a lot of money. It explains a lot. There's a lot of people with a lot of money riding on this terrorist compound. So basically, in a nutshell, you have really rich people in America who are all white people who will protect cannibals if they're not cannibals themselves and do anything to anyone in order to protect themselves with the money they have from any criminal charges. Don't forget how rich Biden's entire family is. Don't forget how rich the Clintons are, and don't forget how rich the Trumps are. So they can pay off a lot of people and buy a lot of freedom from prosecution for themselves, which is what you've seen him do. A felon is now your president. Are you really happy to have a felon as your president? I am not. I am not. Okay, so all of that was documented, what they did. They ring and ring and ring the doorbell trying to bring mental health charges once again. That didn't work. They couldn't cuff me for that. By the time I got there, the person had run away. By the time I got there, I was so lit up with chemical gas, that was all documented on film. But by the time I got down there, I heard a something terrible happened in the basement. And I had to go all the way upstairs, turn off the video. You saw what happened. I filmed that all in real time. And then go back down and go in from outside just to go see for myself what the fuck had happened in the basement. I know there was a person in the downstairs. That's what I was trying to figure out, but I didn't say anything. I was just looking to see, did that person that rang the doorbell go in the house? Because the damn door is open. When I was standing there before, I turned upstairs to go get all the poison out from being poisoned with gas. That's what I was thinking. Did someone just ring the doorbell and go downstairs and open that fucking door? How? The shit's locked. And then I went and secured it again. The shit's really locked. I don't know how they're coming in or out, dude. They must be using some serious force on that door. Which would explain what I heard. I might have heard them bust through on the door, but then they disappeared into the house, which, well, yeah, if you could only see what I could film, but I'm not allowed, there's a fucking few places they could run into. And it would be 1507 or 1511. That's what you'll see right away if and when I can film this shit. They have runways and tracks and holes and everything they got around here. Crawling through walls, the little holes they carved out. So I don't know. But I'm still forbidden in all caps from filming their crawl holes. It pisses me off, you're right. But what I'm going to say is those DC stare downs I'm getting from the man, I can't describe them. This too soon after the fact of what just happened. With the fact that I found the door open and I heard that incident in the basement. With the fact that I got gassed on the video. With the fact that they approached the door and manically rang the doorbell trying to say I'm loco again. Desperate. Absolutely desperate to do anything and say anything to get away with terrorism. Keep coming to the door. They know they got me alone. I'm just an easy fucking target here. Keep coming to the door. Bring those cops. Bring those fire departments. Just keep coming. So you see how it is for me, okay? But what I'm supposed to say is there have been about the time that NATO was here. That was one time. There's been at least 5 times, and this is just off the top of my head. Okay, so there's more than that. But there's been concretely 5 times where there's been at least 10 to 20 helicopters circling over this block. Oh, I'm not kidding you. I don't know what they call that in the military. No one has any respect to talk to me and tell me what the fuck I'm sitting in the middle of. But they're definitely not circling the White House, and they're certainly not circling the Capitol. And it's happened so many times that I know they're circling here. And when they do that, they do it for sometimes up to about 4 hours. And they circle the block where I've shown you on those, where the weapon system is. They just circle and circle for up to 4 hours. There's 10 to 20. I think some of these planes might be drones, and I'm mistaken. That's the only alteration I would make with the aircraft that flies over this fucking shit here. All right? I am telling you the truth. This is what I fucking lived through. And then they still want to keep coming to the door, telling me that I'm telling you crazy lies and that I'm loco. I'm a crazy woman. This never happened here. It is happening here. So sometimes I think not all of those planes, when they do that, are planes. I'm thinking they're drones, and I just don't know it because there's a lot of them. And when they're here, there'll be like 5 or 6 that keep swooping down like you see in the Vietnam movies. They swoop down, they go, and then they get so low they snap. And they'll hover 1 minute, 2 minutes. Like, I'm not kidding. At that point, I'm thinking, cool, they're coming in. And then they fly off. And then like they make that noise like they're gonna, like a bomber. And there'll be another one coming, and it'll just fly right away like an X or lengthwise or crosswise. And there'll be like all these craft doing that for like 4 or 5 hours. Yeah, but the people, oh God, you should see it when they come low, and you can hear them. Like it's a Vietnam movie. That's my reference, because that's damn fucking what I think every time. They come, you hear them. They're flying into these roofs so low and so fast. That's when you know they're coming right to the roof. They come. It gets louder and louder and louder and starts to shake the house. And you know how I mean when the helicopter... It's like right over your house, and then it even gets lower than that. And when they get lower than that, you hear the blades snapping. The whole house is on, it's like a, oh my God, you just don't know how loud those helicopters are until you're that close to them. And then they will hover and circle, and then it gets up, it goes a little more, and it goes. You can hear it raising in elevation because it's not snap, snap, snap so close. And then it flies fucking off, and another one comes 2 minutes later, right back on the roof. So these people walking down the street with the man who did the DC stare down right at me through the door that you saw I was filming, are out of their minds. You understand why I say what I say about these people. You want to put your hat on and your sunglasses on and your expensive clothes. I mean, they're dripping in money. You look like an idiot, like you seriously do need to go to KGB Anonymous. You are such a fucking loser. I mean it, dude. I wouldn't even talk to you if I didn't know who you were. They come from these small towns in America, and they think they're in the big city. And they got wrapped up in white terrorism. A lot of these fucking creeps around here did. The female who just exited the 1507 looked like one of the med students that I can positively ID. This is why I can put that hooker in the slammer. The Muslim Arabic terrorist female from 1507 with what my solo testimony alone can put her in the slammer. And it has a lot to do with medical students and human dismemberment of dead corpses. Okay? And she's going to talk to the Department of Mental Health, billow out laughter, and send them right to my door. Don't forget who I can put into the slammer, my solo testimony. So that's who I just saw walk out of 1507, but it's too soon after the event and the felony crime that just happened for me to describe ID what she exactly looked like, but I'm standing feet from her. I watched her go all the way towards 16th. And she looked to me like one of the med students. She's just a new one. She's definitely a med student. That's what I would tell the boss. That's another med student coming and going like nothing's going to happen to him. Well, because until something really does happen to Trump, to Biden, to the two sitting attorney generals, like nothing happens to any of these despots, dude. So these med students are going to keep prancing around after they've just done something so fucking gory you don't even know. No, these guys flying the helicopter know what kind of crap they're doing, these med students are doing. They're chopping up bodies. It's disgusting and terribly gory. And I'm getting gassed nearly to death. And then she comes hop, skipping, and jumping out of the house. Okay? And she immediately crossed the street, went right into the front yard. I thought she was going into his house. Of the man that had a stare down with me on video. And then she decided not to go into his house. That's what it looked like to me. That's what I would tell the freaking boss here. And she beelined towards 16th. She changed her mind. Now she was carrying stuff. I could tell you what she looked like. I could tell you everything, but I can't talk about it. I can't ID her like that. She's one of the med students, if you want my opinion. So yeah, of course they're doing that next door. They're never going to stop until this is actually put to a stop here. Okay? But with the helicopters alone, you understand why I say to the people of the city that they're fucking skitzed out. I would not come anywhere near here with my hat. They do this in the summer too. Don't even worry. They just don't have their big hats. Their hats make them look even more stupid. But they think perpetually, all year round, are convinced they're KGB agents here. They're so fucking out of their minds here. Okay? And then there's all these helicopters that swarm and swoop and whatever they call this, and then these fucking idiots on the sidewalk all scamper away. And then when the helicopters are gone, they all come right back and walk past here like the coolest thing in the world. They walk past here like they're God's gift to the earth. They walk past this complex like they are so cool. And most of them they're Americans. They're almost all white people. They're from really small towns in America. They're in a big city. They're on a lot of crystal meth. They're getting a lot of money to be involved with domestic terrorism. They probably have a job they have no right to even have or are even at all qualified for. Okay, I've seen it a million times in DC with that. I've been here for 5 years. They get them really, really high on narcotics as part of going into the office. A lot of it is because what they do in their job is literal capital crimes. Especially the Donald Trump, his former administration, just engaged in felonies left and right with all their staffers. So if you get them hooked on drugs, they're definitely not going to talk. I witnessed that. when I first moved here, before I moved into this house. It's something I can talk about another time. It goes on to the actual depositions. But until that day comes, okay, then I don't know what to say, because right now we're just doing this endless carousel with Vietnam style, helicopter raids that happen like all the time. And when they come, everybody scampers away. And when they're gone, they all come right back with their hats, their sunglasses, their $500 purses, their clothes. They're so cool, man. And this probably is really exciting to them on a whole bunch of crystal meth and crack cocaine. They have all this money. They're wrapped up in this white revolution. They call it that. I'm sure they call it something. They're not calling it terrorism, but that is what you're doing. You're a terrorist. This is a terrorist cell. This is not a revolutionary battle. They're fucking cannibalizing in here. So that's who's supporting this. These schizos in this town are totally cool with the cannibals. I'm not fucking cool with cannibals. I'm never going to be cool with that. I don't care what kind of hat and purse I'm hanging on to. Okay, so the schizos just came back to my door. They were all swarming around. One of the med students came out of 1507. She's a new one. And I'm getting stare downs from the fucking yard. He didn't probably like me talking about that fucking tunnel his Habaro's built. I can't ID that guy, but you know, hey, I got a good look at you, dude. You were staring me down. It's not smart, dude, to do that. You are involved with so much heavy intelligence and so many bad military men. I wouldn't have a stare down with the punk rock chick next door. That's suicide, but make your own choices. I would stare down someone else a little more worth it. No, I'm glad that I distract these tweakers like that. They're so tweaked out, the punk rock girl gets them going, but it's really not worth it. I'm going to go. Adios.